What's up guys, Sean16 here, and today's discussion on Here's What I'm Thinking is on Disney's 1996 classic, Hey, I Was Born That Year, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and how it stands out as a movie that doesn't follow the status quo in terms of a common cliche most movies have and are known for, and why it's a good thing, and the lesson or lessons we can learn from this film. Before I get to the point of this video, I believe it's important to explain the overall story of Hunchback of Notre Dame to those who've never seen or heard of it. But if you have seen it, I recommend skipping this portion of the video. Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame follows main protagonist Quasimodo, who seeks to join society, but due to his appearance, he's isolated and kept away in a sacred church under the care and watch of antagonist Minister Claude Frollo. Eventually, Quasimodo attends the town's festival, where he is then celebrated by the townspeople who are only celebrating him to make fun of his appearance. Soon, a gypsy on the run by the name Esmeralda, the love interest, helps Quasimodo while evading arrest and capture from Frollo's soldiers. Because Esmeralda was seen by Frollo, who believes gypsies are evil and that they should be captured and or killed, he sends Quasimodo back to the church, where Esmeralda follows, but is then followed herself by one of Frollo's guards, Captain Phoebus, a secondary protagonist. Esmeralda confronts Quasimodo in the church, where Quasimodo, in love with Esmeralda, offers to help her escape capture. In return, Esmeralda gives Quasimodo a map to the gypsy hideout called the Court of Miracles. Because of his recent actions, Frollo is then questioned by Phoebus, who, for defying Frollo, is sentenced to death, leading for him to run to avoid capture, but is then struck by an arrow and falls into a river, to only be saved by Esmeralda, where the two quickly fall in love. Quasimodo eventually finds out and is heartbroken. Frollo would soon find out that Quasimodo was responsible for Esmeralda's escape from earlier and confronts him about it. Frollo tells Quasimodo that he plans to attack the gypsies with many of his soldiers, bluffing to trick and scare Quasimodo. With the map to the gypsies' hideout, Quasimodo and Phoebus work together to rush to the Court of Miracles to warn the gypsies, but they were unaware that Frollo was following them and immediately captured the gypsies, including Esmeralda. Eventually, to skip to the end, Quasimodo and Phoebus rescue Esmeralda and the gypsies. Frollo dies symbolically. Quasimodo comes to accept the fact that Phoebus and Esmeralda are in love and encourage them to be together, while they encourage Esmeralda to join society despite his appearance, where he then is hailed as a hero and is accepted by the townspeople. The end. With that all being explained to the story, I do want to say I liked this movie as a kid. I didn't love it, as it was kind of boring in some parts, but remember the movie ended nicely, thinking it was Quasimodo who got the girl in the end, while Phoebus was an afterthought. Now, about a decade ago, I did rewatch the movie, which was the last time I ever watched the movie, but I remember it quite well. I watched it on TV at 3 in the morning, when Disney Channel used to show old movies of their original movies or Disney's theatrical films. Basically movies that Disney Channel can't bother to show during the daytime schedule unless it's an after hours sort of thing. Now, why was I up at 3 in the morning? I don't know. I can't remember. During that times, I sometimes had the habit of waking up at that particular time. But anyway, I watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and after watching it, I had a different perspective and appreciation for the film than when I was younger. I was a little salty that it wasn't Quasimodo and Esmeralda who ended up together, but instead it was Phoebus and Esmeralda in the end, where Quasimodo had no love in the end, which is why I believe a sequel was made that I didn't know about till 2017, but it was straight to DVD, which explains why it's either forgettable or unheard of. But just to give out a big spoiler of that movie, I don't care if you haven't seen it, because honestly, I haven't seen it either. But I do know the overall plot. I'm trying to save you time and energy here. Quasimodo does meet someone, they fall in love, and it's happily ever after. That's my summary of the whole plot. It's that predictable. Now back to the first and main film. Despite how it ended, I actually appreciated it, since it doesn't follow that one movie cliche where the main protagonist gets the girl in the end like most movies, but it's sort of like the Lego Movie's ending, where the main protagonist Emmett and love interest Lucy, aka Wildstyle, fall in love and end up together, but not without the approval of the secondary character Batman. Okay, yeah, this sounds kind of weird to say. Who Lucy was dating at the time. breaking ties with her and encourages her to be with Emmett. It's like that. As much as Quasimodo liked Esmeralda, the dude was heartbroken by the simple fact that she liked somebody else, but later accepted it, which is something not many people do. You have to think about what Quasimodo has been through despite his kind-hearted nature. He's been isolated his whole life, mocked, laughed at, and even seen as terrifying by people due to his appearance, and is heartbroken to see that the girl that wasn't afraid of him, that actually showed legitimate kindness, that he never really got. Someone like her, the girl that he likes someone else. I feel such a man like Quasimodo would feel miserable even if he had talking gargoyles for friends to comfort him. In the end, Quasimodo stayed pure-hearted and conquered his adversities. 2 out of 3, I guess. He's accepted into society and no longer fears isolation. He may have not gotten the girl, but rather put his own wants and interests aside for her happiness. The cliche of the main protagonist getting his or her love interest doesn't happen in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it's a good thing. I always thought it was interesting that this movie went with an approach I'm not too familiar with. It's something new and fresh, especially for a movie that ended the way it did 20 plus years ago, where no other movie I can think of has done that. As much as it would have and could have been nice to see Quasimodo get with Esmeralda in the end, it would have been predictable, be like any other film, but it wasn't. Where this film differs and stands out more than others for the way it ended, Quasimodo giving his blessings and encouragement for Phoebus and Esmeralda to be together, is something not many of us ever seen before. It makes Quasimodo a better and morally humble character for his acceptance to change his views, even ones that hurt. This movie to me felt like a life lesson of change and acceptance. To make change happen and or accept things for the way things are. Quasimodo's quest, as well as parts of his story arc, where change was to be accepted by society. Esmeralda's quest of change was to find peace, and Phoebus's quest of acceptance of realizing that gypsies aren't evil in the way he was told, then makes the change for the gypsies to have their freedom. We would see a character like Frollo reluctant to make change in his beliefs, his views on gypsies, or acceptance for the way things are or becoming, his inability to let Quasimodo join society, and his hatred for the gypsies led to his demise. This movie is underrated and feels overlooked, in my opinion, in the modern media of cinema, but is worth another look of understanding and development. So to recap, the cliche of Disney's Notre Dame doesn't follow the trend of the main protagonist getting the love interest as it's given to the secondary character, and the lesson to be learned from the film is accepting to change and or making change happen. So I hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think about what I said? Leave a comment, smash that like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and as always, I will see you next time.